guys, I have to show you this. Yes, I'm headphoned up. I had literally zero plans to record a YouTube video today, but I stumbled across a video by Tiago Forte. I'm going to go ahead and put the link down below and the thumbnail right here. And this was all about using AI tools, and particularly Notebook LLM, to serve as a life coach. Because as much as we might want to work with coaches or work with therapists all the time, it can get expensive, right? And so I tried this out. I tried to use Notebook LLM and I didn't get the greatest results, because the fact of the matter is not all of my kind of informative content about me, journaling, etc. is accessible in files. But this is the aha I had. It is accessible in Notion, and Notion has its own AI in the same way that Notebook LLM does. So what did I do? I did the exact same process Tiago Forte did, but I used my built-in Notion AI to help, and this is what happened. I want to emphasize the reason why I decided to do this in the Notion built-in AI as opposed to Notebook LLM is the simple fact that with Notebook LLM, you have to upload all of your sources into it, so it has information to pull on. It was things like, my gratitudes, my journal to some extent, all my different personality profiles. I'm an INFJ on Myers-Briggs, my Clifton strengths, which I don't know off the top of my head, my high five strengths, which I don't know off the top of my head, my human design, my Enneagram, all of those different personality profiles, and basically like any writings you have about your life, the idea is to upload them as sources into Notebook LLM. But the thing is, I don't have all of those things as uploadable sources in Notebook LLM, but I do have them inside of Notion. So I had this aha of why the hell would I try to figure out how to download all of these things when I can just use Notion's built-in AI. Now, caveat with this, don't use the AI in a given page. You know how you can like push the space bar, do the / and get into the Notion AI from any page that you're on? We don't want to do that here. What we want to do instead is we want to actually use the AI that can pull from the entire Notion database. I'm going to walk you through that in just a second, but that's the one big caveat of this is you don't want to use the on-page AI, you want to use the overall AI. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into what it looked like. All right, so as I mentioned, I was listening to this Tiago Forte YouTube video. I kind of used Notion's AI note taker to take notes as I went through this. And then I did sign up for his freebie of all of the different 30 questions that he asked himself in this methodology. And what I went ahead and did is I copied each one of those 30 questions into a Notion AI chat. And I actually started with, I want you to act as my AI life coach to scan my Notion and answer these questions. And we started going through each individual question. And it would answer just like it did in his Notebook LLM example here. But what I really liked about it is it was pulling from my second brain as it already exists. Like, it felt silly to upload all of these sources into Notebook LLM when they all already exist inside of my Notion. So we went through and answered all of these questions. And then what I started doing is I just created a little journal page inside of Notion as well, because I do journal inside of Notion for the most part. And I just started pasting the responses to each of these questions inside of here. And as I read, I would highlight and comment on the things that I found interesting. So for example, it said something about you're ignoring your projector energy needs. And I was like, okay, what are my projector energy needs? Because I don't know a ton about human design. And so this feels like it's relevant for me to learn because it kept coming up. Also down here, it said this is a really powerful aha, maybe something that I need to take into consideration. So like it was saying how my biggest contradiction is teaching others while I'm still learning to embody those things myself. And it talked about a brand positioning that I think I'm going to kind of try to incorporate into my business. Fear of being fully seen. So I just kind of highlighted the things that I wanted to make sure I remembered and commented on the things that I really want to dig into more. And so I've kind of just been doing that, and I want to go ahead and show you some of the last few questions so you can kind of see what this looks like in action. So I just finished reading. We gotta do a lot of scrolling. I guess I could use the table of contents, like one of the only times I've used the table of contents. And I left off on what are my creative drivers and the request for it to be specific. So let's go to the answer. And so what I will do is I'll copy this entire answer into my journal, and then I'll kind of go through and read it. Then it kind of always ends with this sort of meta pattern. Your meta pattern is that your creativity is most alive when you're integrating opposites: pain and purpose, teaching and learning, systems and freedom, professional and personal. So I might actually highlight this and comment something along the lines of, how can I do more of this and create more of this in my life? So I've kind of just been going through and synthesizing it as the answers come up. And so now we'll drop in the next one. In what ways have or could my biggest challenges in life be related to my gifts and creative calling? See what it comes up with. And we've got kind of the rest of these. The one that I'm really, really looking forward to is this one. What is your best advice for how I should approach goals and challenges? And the what questions did I not ask that might yield novel insights? So it's over here, and it's kind of hunting through my Notion. It looks at 86 results, and then it builds a answer from that. And the cool thing is all the ahas that it's saying, it references the Notion sheet that it's bringing those in from. That I think is really, really cool about this. And part of the reason why I was really inspired to use Notion for this instead of using Notebook LM, because it just feels like it's more seamless to do it where I'm already keeping all of this information. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna answer these next few questions, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you kind of all the ultimate takeaways from this process and how I can actually apply this as a sort of life coach to my life. So at one point during this, my Notion AI kind of stopped working. So what I ended up doing is I just ended up using the actual Notion on the page. So I had gotten to this literally the last question in this series of questions. And so I just used the built-in Notion AI on the page. I used the space shortcut to kind of get this to pop open. And then I said, use all the information on this page. And then I had it answer this question. Now, initially it only gave me one question, which makes sense actually, because this says, what question did I not ask? I actually wanted it to do multiple questions to give me some kind of things I could journal on and dive into more. And it gave me all of these questions to kind of dig into. So those might become journal prompts. And then I did one more thing with the built-in Notion AI on the page. And then I said, I want you to scan this page and identify the action steps I need to take. Look at the comments as well, because I figure if I'm going to do something like this, I want to actually turn it into like action items, because I'm me. This kind of seems like a wasted exercise. I'm not actually learning from this and applying things from this, right? So I have I have a bunch of action items that came out of it. A lot of this is a life coach conversation. So a lot of this is going to be hard for me because it goes against kind of some of my fundamental personality traits and some of the things I struggle with just in my personality inherently. Simplify existing systems. I'm a systems overcomplicator. What can I say? Honor your energy needs, create concrete boundaries and practices that support your projector energy, especially focused on rest. I actually kind of feel like there's some sub items to this one. Like I need to figure out how I work with my projector energy and then build boundaries and practices around that. Like I just need to understand what it means to be a projector a little bit more, because I just don't. Align business decisions with the Sunday CEO vision. Filter opportunities through the lens of your 20 to 25 hour work week goal. That is actually a good gut check. I think sometimes as I'm building my business, I get so caught up in my ideas that I don't necessarily gut check the ideas I have against, is this actually gonna align with the business vision I have? So I think that's a good gut check, a good double check. Okay, and I do feel like it's missing something. So I'm gonna scroll back through this conversation and make sure I capture some of the things that I highlighted in the comments that I made as legitimate to-dos. I mean, it's AI, it's imperfect. So like, for example, this one where I said, what are my projector energy needs? I'm going to go ahead and come back down here to this action items, and where it talks about projector energy, I'm just going to drop that in. Like I need to first figure out what my projector energy needs even are before I can do anything related to kind of bringing my human design into this more. Okay, was this comment, and I said maybe I need to do something with this, so I'm going to go ahead and pop into here and to AI and be like, I want to turn this into an action item, my brand positioning / messaging. Help me do that. Hopefully the fact that I said action item will be enough that it kind of simplifies it. So we've got a lot of things where I'm like, okay, I like this. I just don't know how to like integrate that. Like, what do I do with that? So I'm gonna ask the same question that I did before. How might I integrate this? What's the action item for this? Sorry, I cannot get my camera to like not cut off me. It like either falls over or like cuts my head off. There we go. It's cockeyed. I'll have to fix it later. Ooh, I'm gonna have a lot of action items from this. And I think this is another place where I struggle, if I'm being completely transparent, is I have all these action items and I look at this and I almost just like get overwhelmed by the sheer number of action items I have that I need to integrate. And I like don't know what to do with that. And so I just don't do anything. Common high achiever problem. Like if I can't do everything, I'm gonna do nothing. We don't want that. I don't need to do everything. I could honestly just pick like one thing and just focus on integrating that week, and so on and so forth for the next however many weeks, and it would be productive and it would be time well spent. So fully will fest to the fact that that is something I struggle with. Okay, same thing with this one. I'm just gonna highlight it, and I'm gonna use the same question I've used for the last couple. I really feel like this is a good question of how might I integrate this? What's the action item for this? Because there are just so many things in the output from this that I like, and I know are really, really powerful ahas that I need to integrate. I just like don't know how to. So I'm going through essentially in a nutshell, and I'm trying to turn all of the things that came out of this into something actionable. So this isn't just something I wasted half my workday doing today. It's something that can actually turn into something powerful for me. Also, my nephews made this for my parents, but this mug's way too big for my parents because it's like the size of your head. And they gave it to me because I like big mugs and I cannot lie. Sorry. Sometimes I have to say things out loud because otherwise I forget that I've done them. I do that when I'm traveling as well. I will like say, yes, I locked my door. Yes, I, closed the window, whatever. Hope I'm not the only one that does that. I can tell this conversation's starting to get to be a lot for Notion, especially the fact that I hit the limit on the Notion AI and the fact that it started to get a little bit glitchy and a little bit laggy as I was typing that out. So there is a lot of content on this page, and I just find that with AIs in general, whether we're talking ChatGPT or Notion, that they kind of hit a point where it does start to be a lot for them and they get laggy and they get slow. So if that's happening to you, honestly, you're not alone. So since my screen share wasn't working super well toward the end of the video and started glitching out, I wanted to show you the final product. So as I said, we went through all 27 questions with notes from AI, with comments that of kind of my takeaways from it. And then we took all of that and consolidated it down into a series of action items. All right. So I guess it was 30 questions, but I digress. We put all of this into a series of action items that I went through and had AI help me consolidate. Now, as I already mentioned in one of my little text notes, recently Notion has come up with new updates to their AI agent. This was all done prior to that. If I'd done it again now, and actually perhaps I should repeat some of this with everything new that has come up, I feel like it would be even better. But I've got some action steps for my business system, some things that I want to optimize, some things that I want to do for my energy management, one of which I've already kind of started checking off, honoring my projector energy, things that I want to do for content and marketing, though I've had some changes recently to my business that might affect this and update this a little bit more. And then a lot of things that came up from the self-development perspective, which kind of makes sense. This is meant to be an AI life coach. I think the biggest thing that came out of this is the sheer number of journaling prompts and powerful questions I need to work through as I journal, some of which maybe I'll tackle today. Basically, what we've done is we've taken the Tiago Forte system that he already kind of walked through, which I loved, and applied it to the place that I already keep all of my goals. And that was the point of all of this, is like, why download everything and move it to another system when there's an AI built into Notion that I can also use as a sort of AI life coach. And again, the whole idea behind this is to spot patterns, and that's exactly what we did here. Not only did we spot patterns, we found some very, very meaningful takeaways and a lot of things that we were able to turn into action items, which I cannot wait to start powering through. So that is it. That is all for this video. There's something I did completely spur of the moment because I was doing it and I felt like it might be something that would be interesting for me to share with you guys. So if you loved this kind of thing, if you love checking out this video and you want more stuff like this, go ahead and drop a comment below. Don't, as always, forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I always forget to say that until the end of the video. But with that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.